Hello. What's up, Psyduck? How's it going? You are first. What's up, Wing Chun? Glad you could join. Hey, Losh. Glad you're here. What's up, Benjamin? You are fourth. Huh. Wing Chun is in the lead today. I don't know how it works. I'm not sure how the scoring works. Why is he in the lead? What's up, Nikki? How's it going? When is Dune Part 3 coming out? I'm waiting for it. The most recent Tokyo Treat ad felt like a plot out of the Yakuza games. You like that? Yeah. Packed as many twists and turns in it as I can. Turn off leaderboard crowns. No. Nope. I'm keeping it. What now? I read the books Dune 1 and 2. Dune and Dune Messiah. Messiah was pretty good. It was like a slower paced, not a lot of action, but I think it's really good. When is, let's see, Dune Part 3. Whoops, ignore that. December 2026. Oh, okay. Oh, the crowns are personal settings. Yeah, but the points are, it applies to everyone in the chat, right? What's up, Rude Noise? How's it going? All right, I think today's chapter is a little bit long. So let's get started. All right, I think it's gonna be super fast today. All right, let's try 2 minutes. Salsa. Malta. Should be a better word, right? Salma. Salta. Sad. Sag sage. Sandy. Sally. No, can't be. Saggy? Like saggy pants? Sawi? Sazzy? Saxy? Saggy? Sabby? Savvy? There's savvy. There's savvy and there's saggy. All right. What's the word with V and G in it? Saggy, savvy. Gravy. Oh. Cool. No, congrats on Rude Noise. A new car-ish. 7 years old. Yeah, new enough. Cars last a long time these days. I remember a long... is it a long time ago? When I was a kid. That must be a really long time ago. Cars After like 10 years, cars would start to break down. Nowadays, they last for 15, 20 years. That's for like 200,000 miles. Sally is a word. Sally is a word, is it? What does Sally mean? Not just a name? Oh, Sally out. A sudden charge. Gotcha. Only if you got a Toyota. What's up, Casey? Toyotas are just so dependable. I've only had 2 cars that I owned in my life. Yep, both Toyotas. First one was a Corolla, an old and beat up 94 Corolla. Afterwards, a Prius. And they're just so dependable. All right. Trace, initial, sign, original, stamp, buddy, silent, date, record, evidence, primary, coin, first, comic, cult, hint. Record. Evidence. A stamp. Okay. I'm turning off dark mode. Stamp, initial, sign, and date. No! She tricked me. First, initial, original, primary, coin, hint, date, sign, comic, cult, primary. First. Initial, first, primary, right? Okay. Record, evidence. You have a trace. You have a sign. Okay. You have a sign, a trace, a record, a hint. No! Sign, a hint, a trace. A record? Not a record. Evidence? Sign, evidence, trace, a hint. If this is wrong, then I lose. Ah. All right. Stamp, buddy, silent, date. Stamp. Stamp and date. Comic. Coin. Coin, stamp, record. Ah, comic, silent. Silent. Cult. Comic. You can. Oof. That should be it, right? Sign, evidence, trace, hint. I'll do it. Whew. Okay. Record, record, date, buddy. coin, timestamp, time cult, time coin, time date, stamp, record, stamp. Oh, you can collect stamps, coins, comics, and records. Can you collect buddies? Oh, yeah. Ah, buddy movie, cult movie, date movie, silent movie. That's kind of hard. Don't know about that. Anyone get that? Buddy cop. What's a date movie? It's a movie to watch on a date. Game. Date. Movie. Sign. Shine. Light. Blow. Peace. Cat. Catch. Cup. Stuff. Coke. Peace. Last. Comic. Read. Thing. Place. All right. All right, before we do this, let's put this on hold for a second. All right. I have something to eat. Have a snack first. Okay. Because I'm hungry. All right. I have this. Ooh. Now, this one is it's easy to read this time, okay? It says oh wait. Chocolate Dubai. What does that mean? And this should be good. It's gonna melt, so I gotta eat it. Ah. My goodness. Ooh. Okay. How do I do this? Can I get it? Can I get it? All right, hold on. Give me 1 second. I'll put it in the fridge. All right. No, can you see? Let's see. Ooh. Pistachio cream inside the chocolate. This should be good. Mmm. Oh, who said 0 out of 10 crunch? It's crunchy. The pistachio cream or whatever it is inside is actually kind of crunchy. It's like a 6 out of 10 crunch. Hmm. All right. It's very sweet. Not sure I like the very sweetness. Mm. It's a tad too sweet for me. But the chocolate is good. I like the crunchy pistachio cream. Yeah. I think I've been drinking too many 25% sweet boba. I'm not used to things that are sweet now. It's a little too sweet, okay? Probably a 7.7. How about that? The crunchy pistachio saved it. No chocolate or dark chocolate. It's milk chocolate. You thought it was going to be a solid break of chocolate? Nope. Dark would have been better. I love dark chocolate. Well, how dark? I don't like it. I don't like those chocolates that are so dark that you can't really taste any sweetness. It's just bitter. Yeah. But I like dark chocolate. 72%. Yeah. You have 100% dark chocolate? Why? What's the point? Tasted like mud. Oh yeah? Is it good mud? What's the point? All right. Back. Mud. Chocolate. Sweet. Oh. Savory. Okay, chat agrees that 100% is like mud. Break. Crunch. Food. Eat. Drink. Meal. 5. Savory. Save. Safe. Snack. We did chocolate. White. Lunch. Rice. Cracker. Chef. Water. Savory. Delicious. Review. Critic. Piquant. Got a professor over here. Spices. Spicy. Aromatic. Aroma. Meat. Grilled. Charcoal. Description. Spicy. Good. Mouth. Oh! Watering. Teeth. Tooth. Tongue. Oh, taste. Tongue. Uvula. Roof. What else is in the mouth? What? Nose. Nose! Nostril. Lips. Lip. Bite. Eye. Eyes. Ear. Face. Scent. Smell. No. It's a physical thing. Nose. Hair. Esophagus. Navel. Wait. Navel. Esophagus. Bronchite. Is that a... You mean bronchial tube? Eyebrow. Eyelid. Sinus. Infection. What else is on the face? Cheek. Bone. Cheek. Oh! That was fast. That was a pretty fast mental. One of the fastest, I think. Job, guys. Nice one. The chocolate helped. Yeah, good thing cheek is correct. Good thing cheek is the right one. We stopped there. I'm gonna go for butt cheeks. All right. Okay, you ready? 4 minutes shorter than the chocolate break. All right. Recap. What happened last week? So last week, Huangrong and Kujana, they're sheltering in a temple. And then the bad guys arrive. Okay, Oh Yangfeng, Yang Kang, Wen Yan Honglia, and his minions. They come into the temple. Hongrong and Kujana, they hide behind the statue, listening to the bad guys talk. And we find out that Yang Kang has tricked Oh Yangfeng, told him that the Chen sect had killed his nephew, who was actually his son. By the way, what was the whole point of that secret? So he's officially his nephew, but then in reality, he's Oh Yangfeng's son. I feel like, what's the point? And I didn't like the way they revealed that too. They revealed that very... it was a bad reveal. No? They could have done it in a much better way. They were like, oh, yeah, it was just like, oh, by the way, he's not actually his nephew, he's actually his son. Oh my god. And then the secret doesn't even matter at all. It seems like, what was the point? Yeah. Anyways, his nephew/son died, and then Yang Kang convinced him that the Chen sect did it, when actually it was Yang Kang who killed the guy. So Oh Yangfeng intends to make Yang Kang his disciple, Shagu is also there, the little girl. Hongrong suddenly tells Kujanu to let her father know who killed her. And then Kujanu is like kind of confused. Then Hongrong jumps out of hiding. Okay. And the bad guys see her. She claims that her father wants Ouyang Fang's help. Okay, her father is in need of help. Also says her father is currently translating the Nine Yin manual, and she had memorized the translated parts. And she offers to give Ouyang Fang 5,000 characters of the translated parts if he helps her father, but only 3,000 characters if her father dies and then Ouyang Fang avenges him afterwards. Ouyang Fang is kind of interested, but he doesn't decide anything yet. And then Hongrong, she talks to Shagu, kind of coaxing her into revealing what happened on Peach Blossom Island. And the little girl reveals a lot. Okay, and after a while, Ouyang Fang kind of hits her to stop the story. But then Hongrong already deduced everything. Okay, and she lays out what she thinks happened. And so what happened was that the 6 freaks of Jiangnan, they came to Peach Blossom Island to stop the rivalry between Huang Yaoshi and the Chenjin sect. Now, the Chenjin Taoists also came to the island, but Huang Yaoshi leaves early to avoid the conflict. So Ouyang Fang and Yang Kang are on the island, and they decide to kill 5 of the 6 freaks, okay, leaving behind the blind Kujanu to escape. And while they're killing these guys, they pretended to be Huang Yaoshi. Okay, and the blind Kujanu didn't know any better, so he believed it. So Kujanu, he escaped Peach Blossom Island. How? I'm not sure. This is a blind dude. He escapes, and he tells the world that Huang Yaoshi killed his mates. Kujanu is behind the statue, listening to all this, and he's like, "Oh shit, I was wrong this entire time. I blamed Huang Yaoshi, but it was really Ouyang Fang and Yang Kang who killed my friends." And apparently, the bad guys searched the temple, but still didn't find Kujanu hiding behind the statue. This blind guy, not sure why. Anyways, yeah, and that's what happened. How's that? Do anyone but Hongrong and Guojing know? Yeah, who knows that his son, Ouyang Fang's son, Ouyang Fang's nephew was actually his son? Ouyang Ko's mom. Who is Ouyang Ko's mom? Do we get to find out? I hope that secret actually matters. It must, right? They wouldn't just put it there for no reason. But still, even if that does matter, the reveal is kind of underwhelming, no? Anyways, all right, we good? It's a long chapter. All right. Chapter 36. The Western Campaign. Part 1. Ouyang Fang had an affair with his sister-in-law. Yeah, who is that though? Hongrong spoke softly. Uncle Ouyang, you praise me far too much. Now that Guo Jing has fallen for your scheme, he and my father are irreconcilable. But once you rescue my father tomorrow, if your nephew were still alive, could we not revisit that marriage arrangement from before? Ouyang Fang's heart skipped a beat. Why is she bringing this up now? What is her intent? Then Huang Rong turned and said, Gu, this good brother of yours treats you very well, doesn't he? Gu replied, Yes, he's taking me home. I don't like playing on that island anymore. I want to go home. Huang Rong said, Why go home? Someone died at your house. There's a ghost there. Gu let out a startled cry. There's a ghost at my house? I don't want to go back. Huang Rong asked, Who killed that person? Gu said, I saw it. It was good brother. Clang, clang. Wait. Two hidden weapons clattered to the ground. Huang Rong laughed. Your Highness, why not let her finish speaking? Why resort to hidden weapons to silence her? Yang Kang snapped. This fool talks nonsense. She'll say anything, even ghost stories. Huang Rong said, Gu, go on and speak. This uncle here enjoys listening. Gu said, No. Good brother told me not to say it, so I won't. Yang Kang said, That's right. Lie down and go to sleep. Even if you say even one more word, I'll summon an evil ghost to come eat you. Why is he saying this? Being a kind of obvious, isn't he? Terrified, Gu quickly replied, Okay. The sound of rustling clothes followed. She had already pulled a blanket over her head and lay down to sleep. Huang Rong said, Gu, if you won't talk to me, I'll have Uncle Ouyang take you away. Gu cried out, I don't want to go. Huang Rong said, Then tell me, who did good brother kill at your house? Everyone was surprised that she was suddenly accusing Yang Kang of murder. Yang Kang's heart pounded wildly, and he secretly gathered internal strength in his right hand. If this idiot girl really blurts out what I did in Ox Village, even if it arouses Ouyang Fang's suspicion, I'll have no choice but to kill her instantly, using the 9 yin white bone claw. He thought further. When I killed Ouyang Ke, only Mu Nianzi, Cheng Yaojia, and Lu Guanying saw it. Could the news have leaked? Most likely this fool saw it too, but I didn't notice her at the time. At that moment, the ruined temple was silent. Everyone waited for Gu to speak. Ku Zhane didn't even dare breathe. But after a long pause, Gu said nothing. Soon they heard the sound of snoring. She had fallen asleep. Okay. I feel like Ouyang Fang should know at this point, right? Why is Yang Kang being so suspicious? Yang Kang exhaled in relief, but his palms were drenched in cold sweat. This fool girl is a ticking time bomb. I must think of a way to get rid of her. He glanced sideways at Ouyang Fang, who sat with his eyes closed. The moonlight illuminated half of his face, making his expression look calm and indifferent, as if he hadn't paid attention to a word just said. Everyone assumed Huang Rong was simply rambling. Since Gu was now asleep, the matter was dropped, and one by one they lay down and began to doze off. Only like one guy died at Ox Village. Yeah, I feel like everyone should know by now. But just as sleep began to settle over the temple, a sudden scream pierced the night. Don't pull me, it hurts. He's trying to kill her. Gu cried out as she leapt up. Huang Rong shrieked, A ghost! A ghost! A ghost with the broken leg! Gu, it's the young master you killed! He's come for revenge! In the dead of night, Her words sent chills down everyone's spines. Xiaogu screamed, "No, I didn't kill him. It was good brother who." Before she could finish, a whoosh, a bang, and a scream rang out. Yang Kang had suddenly leapt up and aimed a blow at Xiaogu's skull, but Huang Rong used a move from the dog-beating staff technique to flip and intercept him. With that, chaos broke out in the hall. Sha Tongtian and the others quickly surrounded Huang Rong. Huang Rong acted as if she hadn't seen anything and pointed her left hand toward the temple entrance, calling out, "Young master with the broken leg, come on in. Xiaogu is right here." Xiaogu looked toward the temple door. It was pitch black and nothing could be seen. But having feared ghosts since childhood, she immediately clung to Huang Rong's sleeve and cried out in panic, "Don't come asking me for my life. It was good brother who killed you with the spearhead. I was hiding behind the kitchen door and saw it all. Ghost with the broken leg, don't come for me." Uh-oh. Oh, Yang Kang is kind of screwed now. Ouyang Feng had never imagined that the killer of his beloved son was actually Yang Kang. He might have doubted another's words, but not Xiaogu's. Her words had to be true. In his grief and fury, he burst into chilling laughter and glared at Yang Kang, saying, "Your Highness, my nephew deserved to die. Well done indeed." His laughter was cold and mournful, his voice sharp and piercing. It rang in everyone's ears like countless fine needles stabbing at once, making them tremble and clench their teeth. A clamor of cawing erupted. Caw, caw. Crows by the hundreds were startled awake by Ouyang Feng's laughter and took flight from the pagoda's rooftop, filling the air with the thunder of flapping wings. Yang Kang thought to himself, "I'm doomed." His eyes darted about, looking for a way to escape. Wenyan Honglia was also secretly terrified. When the crows' noise began to settle, he quickly said, "This girl is clearly deranged. How can Master Ouyang believe her? Your nephew was specially invited east by the prince himself. The prince and his father both rely heavily on him. How could he possibly harm him without reason?" Ouyang Feng exerted a touch of strength through his feet, and before his body had even straightened, he shot into the air, landing silently beside Xiaogu with legs crossed. His left hand clamped down on her arm like an iron vice and barked, "Why did he kill my nephew? Speak, ribbit." Xiaogu was startled out of her wits and cried, "I didn't kill him. Don't grab me, don't grab me." She struggled desperately, but Ouyang Feng's grip was like steel. Rooted in place, overwhelmed with fear, she began to cry out, "Mama!" Ouyang Feng repeated his question several times, but only frightened her more. She didn't even dare cry anymore, only stared at him with wide, blank eyes. Huang Rong said gently, "Don't be scared, Xiaogu. This uncle wants to give you some cake." This reminded Ouyang Feng. Too much force would only scare Xiaogu into silence. He pulled a cold bun from his cloak, meant as travel rations, and stuffed it into her hand. He also released her arm and smiled. "Here, take this cake." Xiaogu held on to the bun, still frightened, and said, "Uncle, you hurt me when you grabbed me. Don't grab me again." Ouyang Feng soothed her. "Good girl, Xiaogu. Be good and listen. Uncle won't grab you again." Huang Rong asked, "That day, the young master with the broken leg was carrying a young lady. Was she pretty?" Xiaogu replied, "Very pretty. Where did she go?" Huang Rong said, "Do you know who she was?" "No, you don't, do you?" Xiaogu beamed with pride, clapped her hands, and said, I do. She's good brother's wife." No. At this, Ouyang Feng no longer had any doubts. He knew well that his illegitimate son was a lustful man. He must have tried to molest Mu Nianzu. and that had led to his death. Yet, with his nephew's skill, even injured, Yang Kang shouldn't have been able to defeat him. How did he pull it off? He turned to Yang Kang and said, My nephew was ignorant and offended the young princess. He deserved to die. Yang Kang stammered, No, I didn't kill him. Ouyang Feng's voice turned sharp. Then who did? Yang Kang was so terrified that his limbs went numb and cold sweat drenched his forehead. His usual cleverness deserted him, and he couldn't utter a single word. Hongrong sighed. Uncle Ouyang, there's no need to blame His Highness for being heartless, nor your nephew for being a flirt. Just blame your own martial arts for being too formidable. Ouyang Feng was baffled. What do you mean? Hongrong said, I don't know either. It's just that when I was in Ox Village, I overheard a man and a woman talking in the next room, and I was quite puzzled. Ouyang Feng was completely confused by this sudden shift in topic. What did they say? Hongrong said, I'll tell you word for word, not adding or omitting a thing. She has a great memory. I never saw their faces, so I don't know who the man or woman was. I only heard the man say, If word gets out that I killed Ouyang Ke, I'll be in deep trouble. The woman replied, A real man takes responsibility for what he does. If you're so afraid, then you shouldn't have killed him yesterday. Even if his uncle is powerful, if we run far away, he might not find us. When Hongrong paused here, Ouyang Feng urged, That woman's quite right. What did the man say next? The back and forth exchange between the two left Yang Kang increasingly terrified. At that moment, moonlight slanted through the temple gate and illuminated the front of the deity statue. Yang Kang avoided the light and quietly stepped behind Hongrong, but he heard her continue. That man said, Sister, I have another plan in mind. His uncle's martial arts are unmatched in the world. I intend to become his disciple. I've long had this thought, but his sect has a rule. Only one disciple per generation. Now that he's dead, his uncle will be free to take me in. No. Though Hongrong never said the speaker's name, her tone and inflection mimicked Yang Kang's voice so vividly that it was unmistakable. Yang Kang had grown up in Zhongdu, while his mother, Bao Shiruo, was from Linan, so his accent carried both northern and southern influences. Hongrong's imitation made it instantly clear to everyone present who the speaker was. Ouyang Feng gave a chilling chuckle. Turning his head and not seeing Yang Kang where he was before, a sharp smack was suddenly followed by a cry of pain. Ayah! Everyone turned to see Yang Kang standing under the moonlight, his right hand dripping with blood, his face pale as death. It turned out Yang Kang, unable to bear his secret being exposed, had leapt up and tried to claw at Hongrong's head with his 9-yin white bone claw. Yeah, that was never going to work. But Hongrong, anticipating his move while mimicking his voice, was ready. Her martial arts far surpassed his. Hearing the wind of his attack, she leaned aside and dodged. His claw instead landed on her shoulder, striking the spikes of her soft hedgehog armor. The sharp spines pierced his fingers, and the intense pain nearly caused him to pass out on the spot. Yeah, deserved. In the darkness, no one else saw clearly what happened. All they knew was that Yang Kang had somehow been injured, though they couldn't tell whether it was Hongrong or Ouyang Feng who had acted. Everyone feared Ouyang Feng and dared not speak. Wen Yan Honglia rushed forward to support him. Conqueror, what happened? Where are you hurt? He pulled the dagger from his belt and handed it to Yang Kang, knowing Ouyang Feng wouldn't let the matter go easily. He hoped that with enough numbers, father and son might still escape with their lives tonight. Yang Kang gritted his teeth and said, It's nothing. He took the dagger, but just as he gripped it, a sudden numbness overtook his hand. Clang! The blade fell to the ground. Startled, he bent down to pick it up, only to find his arm had gone stiff and unresponsive. In alarm, he squeezed his right arm with his left hand, but felt no sensation whatsoever. He looked up at Hong Rong and cried out, Poison! You poisoned me with a needle! Peng Lianhu and the others, though wary of Ouyang Feng, still considered Wen Yan Honglia a royal prince of the Jin Empire. They figured the grudge over Ouyang Ke's death could be resolved somehow. Seeing Yang Kang in such panic, they hurried over, some to console him, others running up to Hong Rong and shouting, Quick, bring the antidote! Save the young prince! Yet all of them kept their distance from Ouyang Feng. Alright, how is he going to get out of this one? Hong Rong said coolly, There's no poison on my soft hedgehog armor. No need to panic. For someone like him, why would I go out of my way to hurt him? But just then, Yang Kang suddenly cried out, I can't move. Was it Kujanu? Everyone saw one of his knees buckle as his body slowly sagged downward. From his throat came a strange guttural moaning, half human, half beast. Hong Rong found it strange and turned to look. Even Ouyang Feng had a surprised expression. As she glanced back at Yang Kang, she saw his face suddenly twist into a wide grin, lips stretched in a grotesque smile. Under the silver moonlight, the sight was eerie beyond words. Her heart suddenly lurched. She exclaimed, So it was Uncle Ouyang who poisoned him. Yeah, it looks like it. Ouyang Feng said in surprise, Judging by his appearance, he's clearly been poisoned by my strange serpent. I had intended for him to get a taste of it, but this little girl did the job for me instead. Wonderful, just wonderful. But although this strange snake is unique to me alone, where could the little girl have gotten one? Hong Rong replied, I don't have any strange snakes. The poison was clearly yours. Maybe even you weren't aware you'd use it. Ouyang Feng said, That is strange. Yeah, Yang Kang gonna die? Yeah, is this the scene? Is this the part where he dies? I have a feeling that he will escape somehow. I feel like Guo Jing should be the one to kill him, no? What's up, Sal? Nice of you to join. Hong Rong continued, Uncle Ouyang, I remember you once made a bet with the old urchin. You fed a shark some of your strange serpent's venom. After that shark died from the poison, a second shark that ate its flesh was also poisoned. The venom could spread endlessly. Wasn't that right? Ouyang Feng laughed. Ha 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 ha. If my poisons weren't exceptional, then wouldn't the title Western Venom be empty bragging? Hong Rong said, Exactly. Nanshiren was the first shark. By now, Yang Kang was rolling on the ground like a madman. Liang Zuwang tried to hold him down, but how could he manage it? Ouyang Feng frowned in thought, still puzzled. Please, go on, he said. Oh, was it from her spike? Yeah. Still, some of the poison was still there. From Nanshiren. Hong Rong said, You used your strange snake to bite Nanshiren. That day, I ran into him on Peach Blossom Island, and he punched me once. That punch landed on my left shoulder, on the spines of my soft hedgehog armor. The spines caught his poisoned blood, so my armor became the first shark. Just now, the young prince struck me, and happened to grab those very spikes. Nanshiren's poisoned blood entered his bloodstream. He's the third shark. No. Everyone who heard this explanation was chilled. They now understood how deadly Ouyang Feng's strange serpent really was. Isn't it dangerous to wear such an armor? It's totally dangerous. That young Kang had schemed with poison to kill the Jiangnan Five Freaks and was now poisoned by Nan Shiren's blood. It felt like justice had finally caught up with him. Wen Yan Honglia stepped forward and suddenly dropped to his knees before Ouyang Feng, crying, Master Ouyang, please save my son. I, the prince, will forever be grateful. Ouyang Feng let out a cold laugh. Ha 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 ha. Your son's life is precious, but my nephew's life wasn't. His eyes slowly swept over Peng Lianhu and the others, his voice like a frozen wind. Which of you great heroes has something to say? Come forward and speak. Good thing Guojing was mad at her. If he hugged her too hard after that, he'd be dead. Yeah. No, not one dared open their mouth. Instead, they all unconsciously took a step back. Suddenly, Yang Kang sprang up from the ground and bam, punched Liang Zuwang so hard he flipped over. Wen Yan Honglia quickly stood and shouted, Help the young prince back to Linan. We'll summon the best doctors. Ouyang Feng laughed. Ha 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 ha. Poison from the old venom. What doctor in the world could cure it? And even if one could, who would dare risk their life defying me? Wen Yan Honglia ignored him and barked at his guards and martial retainers. Still not moving? Help the young prince! Just then, Yang Kang leapt high into the air. He stepped forward to grab Yang Kang's arms, but Yang Kang hooked his right hand back and seized Sha Tongtian's wrist, then clawed hard with his left hand across his arm. Sha Tongtian cried out in pain and yanked himself free. In a daze, he suddenly felt his arm go numb and itchy. Terror gripped him. Hongrong said coldly, The fourth shark. He's gonna infect everyone now. Peng Lianhu, a longtime friend of Sha Tongtian and an expert in poisons himself, instantly knew Sha Tongtian had been infected. In a flash, he drew his waist dagger and swish, chopped off half of Sha Tongtian's arm. Ho Tonghai hadn't understood the reason behind this and shouted, Peng Lianhu, you dare harm my senior brother? He threw himself forward, ready to fight. Sha Tongtian, gritting his teeth through the pain, shouted, Idiot! Stay back! Brother Peng did it to save me! Oh, is it cutting in and out? Is it okay now? At this moment, Yang Kang's mind became even more muddled. He flailed in every direction, punching and kicking and biting wildly. Seeing what had just happened to Sha Tongtian, no one dared linger. With a shout, the crowd rushed out of the temple. The chaos startled the crows atop the pagoda once again. In the moonlight, black shadows fluttered across the temple courtyard, and amidst the cawing cries came Yang Kang's savage screams. Wen Yan Honglia stepped out of the temple door and turned back, shouting, Kang-er! Kang-er! Yang Kang's eyes brimmed with tears. He cried out, Father! Father! And ran toward him. Oh no, he's gonna kill the father? Wen Yan Honglia was overjoyed and opened his arms. The two embraced. My child, are you feeling better now? But just then, under the moonlight, Yang Kang's expression turned suddenly twisted. He bared a mouthful of sharp white teeth and lunged to bite. Wen Yan Honglia was horrified and pushed hard with his left hand. Yang Kang, having lost all his strength, toppled backward and lay flat on the ground, unable to get up. Ah, damn. What did he miss? When Yan Honglia didn't dare look again, he turned and fled from the temple, leaped onto his horse, and with the guards surrounding him front and back, vanished in a flash. Okay. Almost killed him. Oh, he's just right there. All right. We'll get him next time, guys. Bells for Yang Kang. Not dead yet. I have a feeling he's gonna survive. All right. Good time for a break. I'll be right back. 5 minutes. And we'll see what happened. All right. We're back. Okay. Let's see if Yang Kang survives until the end of this paragraph. Ouyang Feng and Huang Rong watched Yang Kang writhing on the ground, each lost in thought, saying nothing. After a while, Yang Kang's body gave a violent twist, then fell still. Wah, wah. Okay. Does he deserve bells? And now he doesn't. What should we play for that? There you go. Wait, there's more. All right. Ouyang Feng said coldly, "After all this ruckus, dawn's almost here. Let's go see your father." Hong Rong said, "By now, father's probably already back on Peach Blossom Island. What's the point in going to look?" Ouyang Feng paused, then gave a cold laugh. So all that sweet talk from earlier was a pack of lies. Huang Rong replied, "Of course it was, at first. Do you think my father, of all people, could be captured by those thinking priests of the Chen Chen sect? If I hadn't mentioned the 9-yin manual and such, would you have let me interrogate Gu?" At this point, Kujanu was filled with admiration and pity for Hong Rong. He could only hope she'd come up with some clever escape plan soon. Then Ouyang Feng said, "Mixed into your lies were 3 parts truth. Otherwise, this old venom wouldn't have fallen for it so easily." Well, he kind of did fall for it. "Fine. Now you're going to recite your father's translation of the manual from beginning to end. Not a single word missing." Hong Rong said, "And what if I can't remember it?" Ouyang Feng said, "Then you'd best try. Otherwise, such a pretty and clever little girl, bitten a few times by my strange snakes. What a shame that would be." When Hong Rong had leapt out from behind the idol earlier, she had already accepted the likelihood of death. But now, having just witnessed Yang Kang's gruesome end with her own eyes, she couldn't help but feel fear in her heart. "Even if I tell him everything Master Yi Deng taught me," she thought, "he still might not let me live. I've got to come up with something, anything, to get out of this." With no other plan at hand, she decided to stall and buy time. "I might be able to translate it if I saw the original text again," Why don't you recite it one line at a time, and I'll give it a try? Ouyang Feng said, Who can memorize such a mess of gibberish? Don't try to fool me. Hearing that he couldn't recite it from memory, Huang Rong had a sudden flash of inspiration. If he can't remember it, that means the text is as precious to him as life itself. She said, Fine then, take it out and read it. Determined to hear her translation, Ouyang Feng took a bundle wrapped in oiled paper from his robe. After unfolding 3 layers, he finally produced the text Guo Jing had scribbled down from memory. Huang Rong had to stifle a laugh. My Jing Ge wrote this nonsense blindly, and this old venom thinks it's some priceless treasure. Ouyang Feng struck a fire starter and searched the altar for a leftover candle stub. Lighting it, he held the text up to the flame and read aloud. Hu buer, kun xing du de, shigen liu bu. Huang Rong said, It means skillfully observe, form, and channel the 12 types of breath. Ouyang Feng was overjoyed and continued reading. Ji wen hu hua shi, hua hu. Huang Rong said, It heals all ailments and gradually leads to divine power. Chu da bie shi tu en ni ku. Huang Rong pondered for a moment, then shook her head and said, Wrong. You read it wrong. No, that's exactly how it's written. Huang Rong said, That's strange. This sentence is completely unintelligible. She rested her chin on her left hand, pretending to be deep in thought. Ouyang Feng grew increasingly anxious, staring intently at her, hoping she would figure it out soon. After a while, Huang Rong said, I see now. It must be that foolish Guo Jing wrote it wrong. Let me take a look. Ouyang Feng, suspecting nothing, handed over the text. She burns it. Huang Rong took it, and holding the candle stand in her left hand, pretended to examine the manuscript closely. Suddenly, she sprang backward more than a jung, holding the pages half a foot from the flame, and said loudly, Uncle Ouyang, this scripture is a fake. I'm going to burn it. Ouyang Feng was shocked. Hey, what are you doing? Give that back. What do you want more, the manuscript or my life? Why would I want your life? Give it back. His tone was unusually anxious and desperate. He made a move to snatch it. Huang Rong moved the pages 2 inches closer to the flame and warned, Don't move! If you take another step, I'll burn it. If even one word is destroyed, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Ouyang Feng thought she had a point and grunted, I can't outwit you, you little demon. Put the manuscript down and go on your way. Huang Rong said, You're a grand master of the martial world. You mustn't break your word. Ouyang Feng, face darkening, said, I said, put it down and go. I won't stop you. Huang Rong knew that he was a man of great stature. Though cruel by nature, he kept his word. So she placed the manuscript and candle on the ground and smiled. Uncle Ouyang, sorry about that. She then picked up her dog-beating staff and turned to leave. Ouyang Feng didn't turn his head. Suddenly, he sprang up, twisted in midair, and with a loud boom, struck the statue of the Iron Spear Wang Chang Yan. Iron Spear Wang Chang Yan. Iron Spear Wang Yan Chang, smashing off half his face. Oh no, he knew the whole time. He shouted, Blind Ke, come out. Huang Rong was shocked and turned back. She saw Ku Zhen'e leaping out from behind the statue, holding a spear shaft defensively in front of him. Huang Rong instantly understood. With the old Venom's skill, how could Ku Da Yu, hiding behind the statue, escape his notice? He must have heard him breathing, but chose to ignore him until now. She immediately jumped forward, positioning her bamboo staff beside him to help defend. She said to Ouyang Feng, Uncle Ouyang, I won't go. Let him go instead. Ku Zhen'e said, No, Wronger. You go. Go find Jing'er and get justice for us 6 brothers. Huang Rong said sadly, If he were willing to believe me, he would have already. Uncle Ke, if you don't escape, the injustice done to me and father will never be cleared. Tell Guojing I don't blame him. Tell him not to be sad. Kujene refused to let her risk her life to save him, and the two kept arguing. Ouyang Feng grew impatient and cursed. Little brat, I agreed to let you go. What are you nagging about? Huang Rong said. Now I don't want to go. Uncle Ouyang, chase that annoying blind man away, and I'll stay and chat with you. Just don't hurt him. Ouyang Feng thought, It's best if you stay. Whether this blind man lives or dies has nothing to do with me. He strode forward and reached out to grab Kujanu's chest. Kujanu swept his spear shaft across to block the blow, but Ouyang Feng flicked his arm, and Kujanu's arms went numb while his chest throbbed with pain. With a loud clang, the iron spear shot up through the roof tiles and flew out. He lost his stick again. Kujanu quickly leapt backward. He was still airborne when his collar tightened. Ouyang Feng had already grabbed him. Though caught in danger, Kujanu remained calm. He raised his left hand slightly and hurled 2 poisoned caltrops at Ouyang Feng's face. Ouyang Feng didn't expect him to have such a last-ditched move. At such close range and with such speed, it was hard to dodge. He leaned backward and, using the momentum, flung Kujanu's body over his own head. When Kujanu leapt out from behind the statue, he was facing the temple gate. With Ouyang Feng's powerful blow, he couldn't help being flung straight out the doorway. The force of the throw was tremendous, and his body actually flew ahead of the 2 poisoned caltrops. They whizzed past Ouyang Feng's head, about to strike Kujanu himself. Huang Rong cried out, Aya! But Kujanu twisted slightly in midair and reached out his right hand to deftly catch both caltrops. Oh, that's pretty good. His skill at recognizing shapes by sound had reached an extraordinary level. He could perceive with greater clarity than someone with sight. Ouyang Feng gave a shout of admiration and said, You're something else, blind Ke. I'll let you go. Kujanu landed on the ground, but still hesitated. Huang Rong laughed and said, Uncle Ke, Ouyang Feng wants to take me as his master and learn the 9 yin manual. If you don't leave now, do you want to become my apprentice too? Kujanu knew she was speaking lightly, but her situation was truly dangerous. Still, he stood outside the temple and refused to leave. Ouyang Feng looked up at the sky and said, The day has broken. Let's go. He grabbed Huang Rong's hand and walked out of the temple. Huang Rong called back, Uncle Ke, remember the character I wrote on your palm. By the time she said the last few words, she was already several zhang away. Kujanu stood in a daze for a long while. In his ears, he heard flocks of crows fluttering into the ancient temple, pecking at the corpses. He leapt onto the roof, found the spear shaft, and stood there, leaning on it for a while, thinking, The world is vast and boundless. Where can a blind man like me find a place to belong? Suddenly, he heard mournful calls as the crows fell from the sky one by one. They had eaten Yang Kang's poisoned flesh and were dying in turn. Oh no. What did the crows do? With a long sigh, he leapt to the ground, grabbed his spear, and set off north. On the 3rd day, he suddenly heard the cry of eagles in the sky and thought, If the twin eagles are here, then surely Jing'er must be nearby. He called out across the wilderness. Jing'er! Jing'er! Not long after, he heard the sound of hoofbeats. Guojing galloped over on the little red horse. He had been separated from his master during the chaos of battle. Seeing that his master was safe, he was overjoyed. Before the horse even stopped, he leapt off and rushed forward to embrace him, shouting, "Master!" Kujano struck him across both cheeks with 2 quick slaps. Guojing didn't dodge and let go in astonishment. Kujano continued hitting Guojing with his left hand and started slapping his own face with his right. Okay. Guojing was even more stunned. "Master, what's wrong?" Kujano cursed. "You're a young fool, and I'm an old fool." He slapped both of them over a dozen times before stopping. Their faces were now swollen. Kujano then launched into a fierce scolding, berating both himself and Guojing for a long while before recounting everything that had happened at the ancient temple. Guojing was overwhelmed with shock and joy, guilt and sorrow. "So that's the truth. I really did wrongly accuse Wronger." Kujano barked. "So tell me, should we both die?" Guojing nodded repeatedly and says, "Yes, I deserve to die. You couldn't have known, master. Your eyes are not to blame." Kujano cursed. "Damn it! I still deserve to die. My eyes may be blind, but was my heart blind too?" Guojing said, "We must find a way to rescue Wronger right away." "And her father?" "Master Huang escorted Reverend Yi Deng to Peach Blossom Island to recover. Master, where do you think Ouyang Feng has taken Wronger?" Kujano was silent for a moment. Then he said, "If Wronger has been taken by him, even if she's alive, who knows what torment she's enduring. Jinger, go save her. I'll take my own life to repay her sacrifice." And people love suicide, huh? Guojing cried out, "No, you mustn't think it that way." But he knew his master's temperament, stubborn, unbending, willing to die at a moment's resolve. So he quickly said, "Master, you go to Peach Blossom Island and give them the news. When you see Master Huang, ask him to come quickly to help. I truly cannot match Ouyang Feng alone." Kujano realized this was indeed the best course of action and left with his spear. Guojing, reluctant to part, followed behind. Kujano swung his spear sideways and cursed, "Aren't you going yet? If you don't bring my clever Wronger back safe and sound, I'll take your little life." It's my clever Wronger now, eh? Guojing had no choice but to stop, watching as his master's figure disappeared into the mulberry thickets to the east. He truly didn't know where to even begin searching for Huang Rong. After thinking long and hard, he rode his horse with the twin eagles to the Iron Spear Temple. There he saw dead crows scattered in front and behind the temple. Inside the hall, only a pile of bones and remains was left. Though Guojing resented Yang Kang for harming his master, he felt that since Yang Kang was already dead, the hatred between them should be buried with him. Remembering their sworn brotherhood, he gathered the bones, buried them behind the temple, kowtowed several times, and said, "Brother Yang, if you still care about my kindness in burying you today, please bless me to find Wronger and make amends for your misdeeds in life." Yeah, like he's going to do that, even if he's dead. From then on, Guojing began a long search for Huang Rong. That search lasted half a year. Oh, damn. Autumn turned to winter, winter to spring. He rode the red horse and roamed with the eagles, searching high and low, asking everyone, beggars from the beggar sect, Taoists from Shenzhen, martial artists from every region. But there wasn't the faintest trace of Huang Rong. The thought of what torment she might have suffered over these months felt like a knife twisting in his heart. He made a firm vow. No matter how far or wide he had to go, he would find her. He left Yanjing and traveled to Bianliang, even when Yan Honglia had disappeared without a trace. The beggar sect, hearing their chief was in trouble, had mobilized all members to help search. One day, Guojing arrived at the Guiyun Manor, only to find it burned to ashes. He had no idea what calamity had befallen Liu Chengfeng and his son Lu Guanying. One day, he was traveling through the province of Shandong and saw devastation everywhere. 9 homes out of 10 abandoned, travelers fleeing for their lives. Everyone said the Mongols were at war with the Jin, and the Jin troops were defeated. The retreating soldiers turned to looting, rape, and murder. After 3 more days of riding, the farther north he went, the more devastated the land became. Guojing thought, in war, it's always the common people who suffer most. That day, he reached a village nestled in a valley along the Jishui River. Just as he was looking for a place to water his horse and cook a meal, he suddenly heard a great commotion ahead. People shouting, horses neighing. Dozens of Jin soldiers stormed into the village. They set houses on fire, forced villagers out of their homes, and tied up all the young women. As for the rest, young or old, they cut down anyone they saw. Guojing was enraged. He spurred his horse forward, snatched the large spear from the leading officer's hands, and, with a backward slap of his left hand, struck the man squarely on the temple. Having trained relentlessly these past months, his internal strength had improved immensely. That one blow caused the officer's eyes to bulge as he dropped dead. The Jin soldiers shouted and charged at him with spears and blades. Little Red, the horse, was excited by the battle and dashed into the fray like a lightning bolt. Guojing grabbed a large saber with his left hand and used left and right hand combat techniques, slashing left, thrusting right, shouting boldly as he fought. The Jin soldiers, demoralized and terrified, turned and fled from the village. But just then, a large banner fluttered in the smoky air, and a squad of Mongol troops charged in from the opposite side. The Jin soldiers, scared out of their wits by the Mongols, turned to fight Guojing, hoping to break through and escape. But Guojing, furious at their cruelty to the villagers, spurred his horse ahead of them, and alone stood firm at the valley's narrow entrance. More than a dozen Jin soldiers charged at him, but he killed several in quick succession. The rest dared not advance nor retreat, falling into chaos. The Mongols were surprised to see someone helping them from the front and quickly joined in the charge, killing all the Jin soldiers still left in the village. The centurion leading the Mongol troops was just about to ask Guojing who he was when one of the squad leaders recognized him and cried out, "The Golden Blade Consort Prince!" then knelt to the ground in salute. When the centurion heard that this was the Khan's own son-in-law, he dared not be disrespectful. He dismounted at once to pay his respects and sent a rider off to report the news. Guojing quickly ordered the Mongol troops to extinguish the fires throughout the village. The surviving villagers, young and old, came forth to thank him tearfully. Amid the chaos, the sound of galloping hooves came from outside the village. A great wave of cavalry surged into view. The villagers panicked, unsure what was happening. Then, like a gust of wind, a jujube, colored horse, raced to the front. Jujube? The young general riding it shouted, "Where is Guojing Anda?" When Guojing saw it was Tolui, he was overjoyed and called out, "Tolui Anda!" The two ran forward toward each other and embraced. The twin eagles recognized Tolui too and rubbed against him affectionately, showing great closeness. Tolui ordered a commander of 1,000 to lead the troops in pursuit of the Jin soldiers, then had tents set up on the hillside, and he and Guojing caught up on what had happened since they last parted. As Tolui spoke of military affairs in the north, Guojing learned that during his absence, Genghis Khan had continued his conquest without pause, expanding the empire vastly. The 4 princes, Chochi, Chagatai, Ogedei, and Tolui, as well as generals like Muchali, Borchu, Borokula, and Qilon had all made great contributions. Now, Tolui and Muchali were leading the army against the Jin Empire, and after several major battles in Shandong, they had routed the Jin forces, leaving them in disarray. The remaining Jin troops had retreated to Tongguan and sealed themselves within, not daring to come out to face the Mongols in Shandong. Guojing stayed with Tolui's army for several days. Then came an urgent message by fast horse. Genghis Khan was summoning all the princes and generals for a grand assembly in the northern desert. Tolui and Muchali dared not delay and handed over the command to their deputies before departing north that very night. Guojing, thinking of his mother, decided to accompany Tolui. All right, back to Mongolia. Before long, they arrived at the banks of the Onon River. As far as the eye could see, the endless grasslands were covered with rows upon rows of tents. Tens of thousands of war horses neighed and galloped. Hundreds of thousands of spearheads gleamed in the sun. Amid the vast sea of gray tents stood one large golden tent with a golden cap on its peak. In front of it flew a nine-tailed standard high in the air. Guojing rode to the top of a sand dune and looked over the magnificent display of military might. He thought, "The golden tent dominates the great desert and rules the farthest reaches. One order from Genghis Khan inside that tent spreads through the empire by fast horses galloping to generals and kings across the land. Then the war horns sound, smoke signals rise across the plains, arrows fly like locusts, sabers gleam, and iron hooves thunder through the dust." He was just thinking, what use does the great Khan have for so much land and so many people? When a cloud of dust appeared in the distance. A cavalry unit was riding out to meet them. Tolui, Muchali, and Guojing entered the golden tent to pay their respects to the Khan. Inside, all the princes and generals were already assembled in two orderly rows. Genghis Khan was very pleased to see the three of them arrive. Tolui and Muchali reported on the military situation. Guojing stepped forward and knelt to confess his guilt. "Great Khan," he said, "you ordered me to cut off Wen Yanhonglia's head, but although I met him several times, he always managed to escape. I am willing to accept your punishment." Genghis Khan laughed. "Ha ha ha ha. The little eagle has grown up. Sooner or later, he'll catch the fox. Why should I punish you? It's good that you've returned. I often think of you." He then convened a war council to plan the campaign against the Jin. Muchali advised that the Jin's elite troops were entrenched in Tongguan, which was difficult to take by force. It would be best to form an alliance with the Song and attack from both sides. Genghis Khan said, "Good, that's exactly what we'll do." He ordered a letter to be written and sent envoys south. The meeting did not disperse until evening. As Guojing left the golden tent under the dim twilight, he was just about to head toward his mother's tent when a pair of hands suddenly reached from behind and covered his eyes. With his current level of martial arts, no one should have been able to sneak up on him. He turned, ready to push the person away, but caught a whiff of fragrance and realized it was a woman. He immediately stopped and called out, "Huazhang!" He turned to see Princess Huazhang standing there with a half smile. I don't think she'll be smiling soon. They had been separated for years. Now reunited, Guojing saw that she had grown taller. Amid the strong wind and tall grasses, she stood tall and graceful, even more heroic in bearing than before. "Huazhang!" he called again. Huazhang was so happy she burst into tears. "You really came back," she said. Guojing, moved by her genuine emotion, was deeply touched. For a while there were 1,000 things to say, but he didn't know where to begin. After some time, Huazhang said, "Go see your mother. Between the two of us, Guess who's happier you're alive, me or your mom? Guo Jing said. My mom must be overjoyed. Hua Zheng pouted. So I'm not happy then? Mongols spoke their minds directly and said whatever was in their hearts. Having lived among them for more than a year and experienced many things, Guo Jing had grown familiar with this way. Now, returning to this place and hearing Hua Zheng's straightforward talk again, he couldn't help but feel a deep sense of closeness. Hand in hand, the two walked together into Li Ping's tent. The reunion between Guo Jing and his mother was filled with both joy and sorrow. A few days later, that's it? That's the meeting? I want to see more. A few days later, Genghis Khan summoned Guo Jing and said, Tolui has told me everything you've done. You are a trustworthy and loyal young man. I'm very pleased. In a few days, I'll have you marry my daughter. No. Guo Jing was shocked. Runger's fate is still unknown. How could I betray her by marrying someone else? He thought. But seeing Genghis Khan's dignified and authoritative expression, he couldn't bring himself to refuse. Though his heart wanted to protest, his mouth stumbled and he couldn't utter a word. Don't tell me he's going to end up marrying her. Genghis Khan, thinking he was simply overwhelmed with happiness, gave him a reward: 1,000 households of slaves, 100 caddies of gold, 500 cattle, and 2,000 sheep. He ordered Guo Jing to begin preparations for the wedding. Hua Zheng, the youngest daughter of Genghis Khan and his favorite since childhood, was now to be married at a time when the Mongol nation was at the height of its power. Genghis Khan was undefeated in battle, and the tribal leaders, upon hearing the great Khan was marrying off his daughter, came in droves to offer congratulations. Precious gifts piled up in dozens of tents. Hua Zheng beamed with happiness, but Guo Jing, on the other hand, was racked with anxiety and sorrow. As the wedding day approached, Guo Jing was dejected and didn't know what to do. Seeing her son in such a state, Li Ping questioned him that night in their tent. Guo Jing then told her everything about Huang Rong from beginning to end. Li Ping listened in silence for a long while. Mother, Guo Jing said, I'm torn. I truly don't know what I should do. Li Ping replied, The great Khan has shown us great kindness. How can we repay it with betrayal? But that girl Rong, although I've never met her, she must be deeply lovable and kind-hearted. Guo Jing suddenly asked, Mother, if it were father in my place, what would he do? Li Ping hadn't expected the question. She was stunned for a while, then thought about her late husband's character. Of course, he was always upright and unyielding. Your father would rather suffer himself than ever wrong another, she said firmly. Guo Jing stood up straight. Though I never met my father, I should still learn to be like him. If Ronger is safe, then I will honor my promise and marry Princess Hua Zheng. But if anything has happened to Ronger, then I will remain unmarried for the rest of my life. Li Ping thought, if that truly happens, won't the Guo family line end with him? But this child is just like his father, stubborn to the core. Once he's made up his mind, no one can change it. She asked, How do you plan to tell the great Khan? Guo Jing said, I'll tell him exactly what I've just told you. Li Ping wanted to support her son's righteousness, so she said, Very well, then we mustn't stay here any longer. Go thank the great Khan, and we'll return south together. Guo Jing nodded in agreement. Uh-oh. How is this going to go? That very night, mother and son packed their things. Li Ping took only some clothes and a little silver. The rest of Genghis Khan's generous gifts she left behind, all sealed in the tent. After Guo Jing finished packing, he said, I'm going to say farewell to the princess. Li Ping hesitated. How can you say that to her? Better to leave quietly and spare her heartbreak. Guo Jing said, No, I must tell her in person. He stepped out of the tent and made his way straight to Hua Zheng's quarters. Hua Zheng lived in a tent with her mother. These past few days, she had been cheerfully busy preparing for the wedding. Oh no. Suddenly, hearing Guo Jing call from outside, she blushed and called out, Mother! Her mother chuckled. Not even married yet, and you can't go a day without seeing him. Fine, go meet him. Hua Zheng came out with a smile and softly called, Brother Jing. Guo Jing said, Sister, I have something to tell you. He led her westward. They walked for several li, far from the main camp, and sat down on the grass. Hua Zheng leaned against Guo Jing and whispered, Brother Jing, I have something to tell you, too. I'm pregnant. No. Guo Jing was startled. Ah, you already know? He thought. That's good. Otherwise, I really wouldn't know how to begin. Hua Zheng said, Know what? I was going to say, I'm not really the great Khan's daughter. Guo Jing was stunned. What? Hua Zheng looked up at the newly risen crescent moon on the horizon and slowly said, After we get married, I'll forget that I'm the daughter of Genghis Khan. I'll only be your wife, Guo Jing's wife. If you want to scold me or hit me, just go ahead. Don't hold back because my father is the great Khan and end up wronging yourself. Guo Jing felt a surge of emotion in his chest, a wave of hot blood rushing upward. He said, Sister, you treat me so well, but it's a pity. I'm not worthy of you. Why not? Hua Zheng asked. You're the best man in the world. Aside from my father, no one compares to you. Even my 4 brothers aren't half as good as you. She's not making this any easier. Guo Jing was silent for a long while. He had intended to tell her he was leaving Mongolia at dawn to return south, but at this moment the words simply wouldn't come. Hua Zheng went on, I've been so happy these last few days. When I heard you were dead, I wished I were dead too. Thank goodness Brother Tolui snatched the knife from my hand. Otherwise, how could I be marrying you now? Guo Jing, if I can't be your wife, I'd rather not live at all. Guo Jing thought, Wronger would never say something like that, but they're both so good to me. When Hongrong came to mind, he couldn't help but let out a long sigh. Hua Zheng looked at him curiously. Huh? Why are you sighing? Guo Jing hesitated. It's nothing. Hua Zheng said, My eldest and second brothers don't like you, but my third and fourth brothers do. I've been telling father that the first 2 aren't any good, and that the third and fourth are the best, so don't worry. Why not? Guo Jing asked. Hua Zheng looked quite pleased with herself. I heard from Mama that father's getting old and thinking of naming a crown prince. Guess who he's going to choose? Guo Jing said, Of course your eldest brother, Chochi. He's the oldest and has done the most. Hua Zheng shook her head. No, it won't be my oldest brother. Most likely the third, or maybe even the fourth. Guo Jing knew that Genghis Khan's eldest son, Chochi, was shrewd and capable, while the second, Chagatai, was brave and warlike. The 2 had always been fiercely competitive. The third son, Ogedei, loved drinking and hunting and was known for his easygoing nature. Guo Jing also knew that among the 4 brothers, the one most favored by their father was the youngest, Tolui. But since Tolui knew the position of Great Khan would never fall to him, he had always stayed out of disputes and got along with all his brothers. Still, Guojing found it hard to believe. You mean to say, with just a few words from you, the great Khan would change who he chooses to succeed him? Huazhang said, I don't know for sure. I'm just guessing. But even if it is my eldest or second brother who becomes Khan, you don't need to worry. If they try to bully you, I'll fight them to the death with a knife. Huazhang had always been favored by Genghis Khan since she was little, and her 4 brothers often indulged her. Guojing knew she meant what she said and smiled faintly. That won't be necessary. Huazhang said, That's right. If my brothers don't treat us well, we'll just go south together. Alright. I think it's time to stop. She's gonna be so disappointed. And then Genghis Khan is gonna be really mad. Yeah, I want to see what happens. Should be fun. All right. What did you guys think of that chapter? Young Kang is dead. Yay. Hell yeah. That was a pretty good death, no? It's pretty good. It's fitting. And he suffered in the end. That's what matters. That's what's important. Just get her to fight her brother to the death. Ah, good idea, Psyduck. The problem solves itself. Need to see Mooney and Suze's reaction. What's she gonna do? She's gonna kill herself, I think. Yeah, everyone likes to kill themselves. That's my prediction. And what is Huang Rong doing with Ouyang Feng? She probably gave him like a fake translation, right? So he'll practice that martial arts and he would go all crazy and stuff. I can't wait to see that too. That must happen, right? It has to happen. All right. Well, cool. I like that chapter. And I'm interested to see what happens next with the Mongols. All right, guys. Tune in next time. Ouyang Feng's gonna marry Hong Rong. Tune in next time. See what happens. I love you. I will see you next week. All right. Bye.